can never access the truth, the good, or the beautiful. That is why they produce communism, leftism.
Are you talking about Jews?
Extreme capitalism. That is why they produce degeneracy and a lot of the problems we see in the country. But now you see people are talking about lizard people and time travel and
it's ridiculous.
Weather machines and all this other stuff.
It's silly.
And here's the amazing thing.
What?
At the end of that rainbow, at the end of that train of logic, that train of thought, at the end, the people that are pushing that narrative will then say it isn't even about the Jews at all, but it's about something else. And I'll show you a concrete example of exactly what I mean by that, because I saw it today. I watched Candace Owens do her show today. She talked about Epstein a little bit, and it was discursive. She had all these different digressions into Freud and psychology and all this other stuff, NASA. And in the end of her own show, she said, it's not about Jews and Christians. She said, it's about Khazarians who are really gypsies that are pagan occultists that are pretending to be Jews for the last 1,300 years, but they're not really. And you go, so this is the point. That's the point of all of that. You get people whipped up for 6 months with complete irrationality, what I would call the great or grand conspiracy. Now we're just getting into time travel and psychic children and lizard people and shapeshifters,
Retarded.
all this kind of stuff.
That's what Nicki Minaj
And in the end, what it leads to is it actually is a diversion from the only conspiracy that is true. And in the end, they want to deny
aliens and shit. I see it in the chat too.
The essence of the matter, which is that this is a theological, political story about Jews and Christians. Make no mistake about it. And this is Catholic doctrine.
How come he's not wearing the quarter zip?
The past 2,000 years, honestly, the past 5,000 years.
Where's the quarter zip?
It's a story of Jews and Christians, the church and the synagogue, Christ and the Pharisees. That's the story. Anyone that tells you otherwise, anyone that tells you it's the Khazarians, it's gypsies, it's occultists pretending to be Jews, it's not those good Jews. Judaism as such cannot be good. It does not have Jesus.
Damn.
So your law,
Islam
your
does.
tradition, your mysticism without Christ is dead. It's nothing. It can only tend towards evil. And that's the truth. So we're going to get into all that. That's my little preamble. And I hope that we're going to be grown up. Honestly, though, I don't care. I mean, this is a line in the sand, straight up. This is one of those shows, just like with Trump, which I called correctly, and just like with everything else, this is one of these shows that is a line in the sand. Are you on the side of the truth, or are you on the side of slop? Are you an engagement farming slop pusher? And you don't really care? You know, for example, I did a show about this last week, and I'm spitting pure facts, and I have people saying, well, this isn't a good look. I saw SNEAKO say, well, this is bad optics.
Uh-oh.
So you're saying that we should lie? You're saying that we should, out of a sense of shame or because of where the public opinion is, we should lie?
There's more important things
We
to
should
focus
create
on.
propaganda? No, I'm sorry. I didn't sacrifice everything to start lying now.
It's not lying. It's choosing.
I didn't sacrifice a career and all the rest of it to tell the truth. So the 10 years in, I could be held hostage by people that I red-pilled 6 months ago, that I red-pilled a couple years ago. I don't think so. So I'm drawing a line. You either care about the truth or you don't. It is reckless. It is like a runaway train. People just want to make more and more exaggerated claims. It only goes in one direction. More wild, more out there, more extreme, more fanatic.
I do think it's bad optics to be wearing an Epstein quarter zip right now when the world is waking up about it and you position yourself to be a speaker of truth. It's bad optics to be wearing that and having all these clips out there about how awful he is and everything. Although that may be true, there's more important truths to get to. The same thing you're saying, it's not important to talk about Baal and Malak and the Satanism and the rituals and everything. It gets too schizo. I agree. I think we should focus on the fact that Epstein has worked for Israel. He was a Mossad agent, very clearly. Netanyahu's fingerprints are all over the files. He says Goy a million times. He's clearly a Jewish supremacist. Let's focus on that. I think it's bad optics right now to be passionate about the age of the victims or about how much aura he has. And, you know, wearing the quarter zip right now, it puts you in a bad position. And I care about this guy. I'm seeing people put threats on him for that stuff because there's a lot of outrage. It's not going to be helpful. So, yeah, what he's saying is true. Let's focus on the most important aspect of this right now, rather than trying to make him seem like a cool person, especially when this is now become socially acceptable within the subconscious. Now people think that this is something normal. When 15, 20 years ago, this would have seemed insane to even insinuate that there was an Israeli blackmail operation on an island to get girls tortured and to compromise politicians. You would have been hospitalized for insinuating that. Now that's true. And this is going to have a lasting effect on culture and on people now that this has been normalized. I saw people criticizing Brad for saying that we should have public executions because it's going to, traumatize people. This is a trauma impact on the zeitgeist. The same way COVID was. This changes culture. This changes the way people think and interact.
Radical, more crazy, and there's no limiting principle. Time travel, sure, why not? Psychic children, hey, why the fuck not? We're already there. Lizard people, sure, throw that in there too. There's no limiting principle. It just goes up and up and up, up and away. And I'm telling you this, if you want to actually achieve our goals, the truth is important. And, we're just not winning with a message that is totally insane like that. That is irrational, that is, based in this kind of wild conjecture. Intelligent people don't go for this sort of stuff because intelligent people care about the truth. And the other line, aside from that, like I said, it is, as I talked about with Tucker Carlson, as I talked about with Candace Owens, Ian Carroll, Dave Smith, I talked about during the generational run, I talked about this with all those people. This is the other line. What is the essence of what we're talking about? What is the thing at the bottom of it all? What is the nucleus of all of this? Because I'm a Catholic, I am a Christian, and I really believe it as Catholics, it's Christ at the center versus everything. And it seems that our primary foe, the primary foil and dialectic in the history of the church is those wayward Jews. The Pharisees that had Christ killed, the Pharisees that were driven from Israel, the Pharisees that then created this breakaway religion, which we now call Talmudic Judaism or mystical Judaism. That is truly the dialectic. It is between Catholics and Jews. It is an ethnic, political, and theological battle between Israel and Rome, between Israel and the nations, between Jacob and Esau, church and synagogue. You have everybody else on the other side that is liberal. Fundamentally, they are liberal. They see everything through an individualist lens, and they do not want to put the blame on the Jews, or Judaism as such, or Jewish peoplehood. And so what you hear from them all the time, the common refrain, is it's got nothing to do with Jews, it's Israel. As a matter of fact, it has nothing to do with Israel, it has to do with Israel's government. This is the refrain that you hear from Tucker, Ian Carroll, Candace Owens, all of these, Johnny-come-lately anti-Semites, all of these red-pilled yesterday people. You'll hear this refrain, it's not Jews, it's Zionists, it's not Jews, it's Israel. It's not even Israel, it's the Likud party, it's Netanyahu, it's Israel's government. The other thing that you will hear all the time, what about those good Jews like Dave Smith? Cenk Uygur and Tucker talked about it last week. Candace Owens grilled me about this. What about Dave Smith? Let me tell you something. As Christians, we don't view the world through the lens of individualism. We're not individualists. We don't believe that everybody's an individual. We believe that everybody is a person. Okay? The abstraction of an individual, I'm an individual, you're an individual, we all have rights, we should be judged individually. This is a liberal proposition. This is a liberal blank slate idea. Catholics believe in persons. What's the difference? A person is bound. They don't just have rights, they have obligations. And they exist socially and relationally. We don't believe that an individual is the fundamental unit of society. Society's not organized on the basis of individuals. It's organized on the basis of families that contain distinct persons. A husband, a wife, a child.
There we go. We're back on time.
Families are actually the central building block, not individuals. Families comprised of persons, not individuals that are atomic and exist in a vacuum, have neither a beginning nor an end, are not bookended, are not related in any way to other people. We believe in families. What does that mean? It means that Dave Smith might have the right views on the war in Gaza, but he's got, I think, a Jewish wife, and he's got Jewish kids, necessarily. He's got a Jewish family. He's got Jewish parents. Came from a Jewish community. So these attitudes that come from this tribe, that come from this nation, even if a particular person might disagree with one or another thing, as a group, in general, the generality, they're colored by these attitudes, by a particular culture. And so whenever people try to say, really the world is about good people versus bad people, it's about good Christians, good Jews, and good Muslims against the bad people that have infiltrated all the religions, this is a liberal idea. This is not a Christian idea. It's not a Catholic idea. It's a load of garbage. And I'm drawing a line. No, sorry. it is the Jews. Here on this show, it is the Jews. It is a story of Christians and Jews. That is the issue. It is Jewish peoplehood. It ain't anybody else.
Yeah. Okay, I see where he's coming from, but he also said on that stream we did the other week, it's like, do you worship a Jew? He said, yep, Jesus Christ. So it's the Jews, but you worship one. You know, don't you see how that can be people find that a contradiction?
And we have seen that over and over and over again. The culprit is AIPAC, ADL, World Jewish Congress, B'nai B'rith. It's these types of groups. It is the Jewish state of Israel. It's Jewish billionaires. That's what it is. I will hear no more of this. It's not a battle between monotheistic religions. It's about the Satanists in every religion and the good people in the other religions. There's nothing Christian about this idea. Christians don't think that you get to heaven and you achieve salvation by being a heckin' good dude. I'm a good dude in any religion. Oh, so believe whatever you want. No, there's a word for that. It's called indifferentism. No one gets to the Father except through Christ. Not Muslims, not Jews, not Buddhists, not Hindus, not non-dualistic Easterners, Taoists. No one gets to the Father except through Christ. And without that light shining from the Father through the Son, proceeding through the Holy Spirit, without that light shining into everything that we do, the world becomes corrupted. Like everything that is created, it dies. It goes away. So I don't buy into this. We're all just going to join up together. It's Basim Youssef and Dave Smith and the good Christians versus the Satanists in all our religions. That's like global religion stuff. That's like universal religion, indifferentism. That's a load of shit.
Well, so
I don't buy.
So only, what are you trying to, like, Christians are the only one, like,
into that?
No, I believe that religions can coexist. People should be able to coexist. You don't have to believe in what I believe in, but we can get along regardless.
So that's another line. Let's talk about what is going on. I'm not buying into this occult nonsense and schizo type stuff. You want to look into that? You can look into that, but that is not where it is. So anyway, that's going to be our show. We're also going to talk, if we have time, about the situation in Iran. There's been some major developments. Looks like there's going to be a meeting this Friday between Steve Witkoff and Iran's foreign minister Araghchi, and it appears as though Trump is looking for an off-ramp. So as always, Trump has issued these maximalist demands, gunboat diplomacy. We've got the aircraft carrier. We're locked and loaded, but it's not going to be enough. Iran is not backing down. They're threatening a regional war. The United States is not really going to be able to defend themselves. It's going to be a brutal, protracted conflict that we're really not ready for. And so now it looks like Trump is trying to buy himself some time or maybe get out of this one. So if we have time, we'll talk about that too. Should be a pretty good show. Before we get into it, I want to remind you to smash the follow button on Rumble, smash the like button, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the show. Tell me in the comments. I'm not going to read them, though. You know what the comments are? These comments are an abundance of goyim. I don't even read my comments because it's just an abundance of goyim. Seriously? Yeah, goyim. Can you believe it? I don't even read them. Goyim talk, I'm not listening. But anyway, so that's that. Remember to check out our store, Fuentes.store. We're selling our brand new America First quarter zip. Very controversial. Everybody's mad about the quarter zip. It's just an 80% cotton, 20% polyester blend. It can't hurt you. It's just a shirt. It can't hurt you. I see people are saying, he needs to apologize. You need to leave. It's like, apologize to who? For what? It's a shirt. People are saying, you need to apologize. Who would I even apologize to?
Maybe the victims?
It's a shirt. We're selling a shirt.
But I'm not demanding an apology.
We stitched a design onto a shirt and then we sold it. People are saying, apologize. To who? Who do I need to explain that one to me?
The families of the victims?
Apologize, my ass. And you know how this shows, this is why goyim are fuck niggas. Shut your goyim ass up, fuck nigga. Shut your goyim ass up, fuck nigga. You want to know why goyim are fuck niggas? Because goyim will make fun of the Holocaust every day like it's going out of style. 6 million, more like 271,000, am I right? Lampshades and bars of soap, my ass. Okay, people did die, though. Okay, like, I don't think that 6 million died. I don't think they were turning lampshades and bars of soap. People definitely died, but fuck nigga Goyim make fun of that all day long. And they say, 6 million didn't really die.
Well, the difference is
Hitler was awesome, did nothing wrong.
100 years ago versus today. That's the difference. I mean, that's the argument you made on Piers. It's like, you want me to talk about Hitler all the time. It's over. It didn't happen. Hitler's dead. We're not part of the Nazis. This is over. Epstein's happening right now. Right now. That's the difference. Is that the families and all this is still involved currently.
Then, a humble shirt salesman sells a humble little shirt, a cute little top that everybody loves. And people go, you need to apologize. I have kids. I have kids, and this shirt offends me. It's like, okay,
no, he shouldn't have to apologize.
You know, Jews have grandparents. It's called jokes, bro. Now we can't make a fucking joke. Whoa. Hello, since when did this turn into like a GameStop? Niggas be coming in like, it's ma'am. It's ma'am. She was 17. It's like, it's, okay, what does that have to do with this delicious little shirt? It's, you know what? Goyim fucking ruin everything. They ruin everything.
Well, he's joking.
It's crazy. We're out here being edgy and having a good time. And it's like, look, when everybody was like a Jewish NPC, it was funny to say like, Jews suck, Hitler did nothing wrong, and everybody would freak out. And the same people would say, you're an anti-Semite. Now, it's like everyone's an anti-Semite. So now it's kind of funny to say like, Goyim suck. Jeffrey Epstein's awesome. Take away your island. What kind of man are you? Billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, city boy? That, you know, then you start posting TikTok edits about that and the same people go, you're a pedophile. It's like, okay. All right already. I've heard enough out of you, pal. Goyim in abundance. So anyway, everybody's freaking out. If you want to see the shirt that has caused so much controversy, Fuentes.store, check it out. We sold thousands of them. We've sold thousands. You will see people wearing them. Oh, I'm afraid they are very operational. You will see people at the gym, in college, at frat parties. I'm afraid the quarter zips are very operational. No one will be apologizing anytime soon. If your children don't like the shirts, I don't know what to tell them. Stop acting like Goyim. You don't want to be called the Goyim? Don't act like a Goyim. Goyim is kind of like the N-word, but for all Gentiles. And I feel like the wise old Goy that's kind of like shaking my head at these younger generations. I'm like, man. It's like I'm like doing a Chris Rock special and I'm like, you got Gentiles and you got Goyim. It's like Gentiles go to church. Gentiles invent shit. Gentiles invented chemistry. Then you got Goyim. Goyim are wearing Crocs. Goyim are driving drunk and crashing into trees, wrapping around trees. Goyim do not give a shit. I don't want to live around Goyim. Goyim can't even read. Goyim are saying compartmentalize. Goyim are saying posthumous. So I feel like the Ankh, and I'm just like shaking my damn head at these fuck nigga Goyim. You know, like pull up your pants, man. Damn, this is why the Jews run our lives. I want Goyim to be respectable. You know, I'm like the William Booker. What was his name? Booker something. Booker Washington. I'm like the Booker Washington of Goyim, you know. I'd want everybody to just be educated and improve themselves. Stop, you know. Anyway. But that's that. Fuentes.store, check it out. We got the hats. We got, you know, if you don't like the quarter zip, fine. Just get the hat instead. Get the hoodies. It's all there, America First. Subscribe to the website, AmericaFirst.plus. If you want to support us, best way to support is subscribe, AmericaFirst.plus. $15 a month.
Oy vey.
You get access to the archive, everything I've ever done in MP3 format as well. $100 a month, you get to be in a group chat with me. I'm hanging out in there. We are venting about the Goyim. You know, we're talking all the dirty little stuff that goes on behind the scenes. AmericaFirst.plus, check it out. Okay, with that, we're going to dive into the show.
All right, enough plugs, huh?
So, of course, our first story here, we're going to get right into it with these Epstein files. I have to tell you, it has really been annoying, okay? I'm just being honest. I'm going to give you my honest feelings as I always do.
You got Jew fatigue. He's just tired of...
I have seen nothing but slop, pure slop, for the past, like, 5 days, and I'm at my limit. It's all the same people posting all the same garbage, and it's just engagement bait. It's literally just the same people farming the engagement.
It's important to spread information about this.
And it's just people posting like, they call us Goyim. Can you believe that?
Most people
like
don't know that.
Vague, rage bait, you know, slop content because of Twitter revenue sharing. Just vague government distrust, vague anti-Semitic content. And I'm just at my limit with all of it. I think it's self-serving. I think it's
he's been in this for a long time.
And we have to be very honest. There was a time
I mean, I'm getting
when
I'm getting
the people
fatigued
who
too.
talked about Epstein or Holocaust revisionism or 9/11,
it was edgy.
these were very intelligent
I just
people,
said this too.
academics, experts, and they were penalized for what they did. I think about guys like David Irving. David Irving is a world-class historian. He knows multiple languages. He reads primary source material. He's written dozens of books. He's brilliant. And he is currently elderly and sick and broke because his entire career was...
First thing on my timeline. Epstein tied young girls 11, 13, spread out on the floor and burned them with a magnifying glass. Files extract. This is from the FBI. Jeffrey Epstein torturing a young woman with a magnifying glass. Date of birth sent Martin a piece of video what appears to be a young white female aged 11 to 13 years old with dark-colored hair, tied down and naked. The victim is tied to the ground and spread eagle with a man who appears to be Jeffrey Epstein holding a magnifying glass with a claw and burning the victim. Martin described the video as being blurry. However, the male subject appeared to be a very large man with gray hair, wearing jeans, a short-sleeved black shirt, and white tennis shoes. Martin stated that Facebook would not take the video down. In the frame of the video, it says Epstein, however, the video is blurry. I don't know if you could really classify this as legitimate. Blurry video on Facebook?
Was destroyed for speaking out, speaking the truth in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. I think about a guy like Chris Bolin, who's a 9/11 expert. Same story. And there are others too. I think about Kevin McDonald. I think about Whitney Webb. People that have been interested in this stuff for a very long time. They're very intelligent. They've done the homework. They've researched this stuff. And in the early days of the internet, launched websites and uploaded all of it. And these were tireless warriors for the truth. And really, they were nerds. They were people that were very concerned with whether what they were saying was true or not. Conducted interviews, did independent research, read the reports, submitted FOIA requests, all that stuff. We gotta be honest. Now, it is popular, it is mainstream, it is acceptable, and you could say it is being incentivized on the social platforms. And now there's just a glut of this stuff. And it's not particularly insightful, or original, or profound, or funny, or even in many cases true. You just have a brigade of people on the internet, on Twitter in particular, that ever since about a year ago, they just log on and post the same garbage every day. And it is very self-indulgent. I think it's very self-serving. I question the motivations of it. Like I said, it's not edifying, it's not profound, it's not original, it's not factual even. They're not posting information or data. It's just a lot of crap. And so it's people posting things like, Hitler would have killed these pedophiles. And you go, okay, so you want to meddle because you hate pedophiles? Everyone hates pedophiles. It's stuff like, kidnap Maduro, we should have kidnapped Netanyahu. It's like, how many times can we tweet stuff like this? How many ways can we retool this formula and just post the same kind of stuff every single day? Oh, it should have been Israel. I wish the government cared as much about the people as they do about the Epstein files. It's just that kind of stuff over and over. And this weekend was an explosion in this kind of stuff. And on top of it, you have people that, alongside this, are also committing the other cardinal sin, which is, and this is what my show is about tonight, just straight up lying about the information. So as you know, last week, at long last, a major tranche of Epstein files was released. 3 million files. And all this stuff hit the DOJ website all at once. And people started looking through it using AI and other tools.
I also have sources in the federal government who are covering this stuff and have seen the documents.
Emails and FBI tips and photos and all kinds of things. And as soon as the FBI files went up, this stuff immediately started finding its way all over social media. And let's talk a little bit first about Epstein. And like I said earlier about these two Epsteins. So you have the Epstein that we know about, who was convicted in the late 2000s of sex trafficking and specifically procuring underage girls for the purpose of sex trafficking.
Yep.
Who was then given a sweetheart plea deal negotiated by Alan Dershowitz, high-profile Jewish attorney, and Alex Acosta, who was a Trump labor secretary later on. And the sweetheart plea deal had him only serving a little bit more than a year in prison for what was widely considered to be a very severe crime, a massive and widespread blackmail ring, potentially, but certainly sex trafficking, in particular of hundreds, maybe thousands of underage girls. They say he got a slap on the wrist, and the reason being is because he was protected by intelligence. He had a strange fortune. Nobody really knows who he is, where he came from, how he made his money.
Bro, what is...
Somehow he's extremely connected.
Dude, this clipper just sent me this. What is this? What the fuck is this? What is that?
And very rich, got busted and caught red-handed, somehow was able to evade persecution. They didn't throw the book at him, and he made it out. Well, they came back at him with even more charges later on. He mysteriously dies in prison. People speculate he was killed to cover up the secrets that he held. And in other words, he might rat on all of his clients, all the people he was involved with in order to get off the hook in his prosecution. That's the story that we know about Jeffrey Epstein. And so to put it succinctly, the idea was he's got a private island, a private plane. He's trafficking thousands of underage girls. He's working for the Israelis. He's trafficking these underage girls. He was put in a position to do this by wealthy financiers and other connectors so that he could get powerful people compromised on tape, having sex with minors so that he can be their handler on behalf of the state of Israel. This is what is claimed by Epstein, or rather about Epstein. Now let's talk about what is in these files. This is why for many years there was a popular call for all these files that were held by the DOJ and the FBI to be released. Because people said only when we see the true breadth and depth of the DOJ's investigation will we learn the true nature of this criminal enterprise. Only then will we know the names of the accomplices, will we know the names of those that were compromised.
You guys are doing the third world shit in the chat that he's talking about. Epstein had Aurora, Gay Fuentes. It's Aura, not Aurora. Are you from India?
And who their handlers were.
Aurora?
And who was orchestrating all of this. This was the call. Release those files, and then we will learn the true secret of our government and how things really work in the power structure. Okay, well, they released these 3 million files that everybody wanted, that everybody was clamoring for. And let's be very honest. Let's be brutally honest here about the files. There is no smoking gun. Just isn't. We have emails, we have photos, we have a lot of things.
You have everything.
There's a lot of stuff in there that's pretty damning. And there's a lot of stuff in there that's suspicious. And stuff in there that is, there's some wild claims that are made in the files. But if you believe that the Israeli government is directing Epstein to traffic minors, to get powerful people blackmailed and then hold this over them, you just don't find a lot of explicit talk of this in the files. Is there even one email? Is there even one correspondence?
There's one email where Epstein is talking about how he secured a meeting with Netanyahu.
Where Epstein is talking to his handler about, oh, we blackmailed this guy. Is there any mention of blackmail? Is there any mention of someone being compromised on a tape? Is there any mention of any of that? Not really. No smoking gun. Have we learned through any explicit, detailed material, anything direct inside the files, which government was really controlling him? Or who he was controlling, or what he got them to do? It's not in there.
Epstein himself said that he thinks that Mossad killed Robert Maxwell because he tried to extort them for $400 million.
It just isn't. What is in the files is a lot of vague innuendo. There is vague talk of sex tapes, and there is some Pizzagate-like lingo, coded language, which is certainly disturbing. And there's correspondences with powerful people, and there's innuendo about being part of Mossad. And there are some pretty extreme allegations.
Didn't Epstein say that the Goyim are only here to serve the people of Israel. We just saw that. Epstein said that Goyim are subhuman and their only purpose on this earth is to serve Israel.
But there just isn't any smoking gun. If you're looking for it, you're not going to find it in here. Now, perfectly reasonable explanation for this. If Epstein really is a super spy, why would you expect to find this in the files? Either it was never written down, it was never put in writing, or if it was destroyed. And the evidence certainly has been tampered with. Because Epstein was originally charged in 2006. That's 20 years ago. So is it plausible that the evidence has been destroyed or tampered with over the course of 20 years? Absolutely. You have to assume that it was. Epstein was charged again in 2019. It's 2026. So 6 years have passed since he died. 20 years have passed since he was originally charged. And there are high-profile reports that Epstein's people got to these tapes, got to the island, the Manhattan townhouse, before the FBI did. We could also imagine, again, as I said, that maybe all the evidence never found its way into a written correspondence. So there's a plausible explanation for this. But what does that mean? What does that imply for our conclusions about the Epstein files? We have to take all this information, and we can't look at it as the end-all, be-all. We can't look at all these files and say, okay, this is it. This is the proof, because if that's your proof, it's pretty shaky. It's not great. You're building a house on sand because there's nothing really solid in here. People point to an email where Epstein said, I love that torture video. I'm sorry, but that could mean anything. And some people might say, it's very clear. It really isn't. Epstein was a degenerate, okay? He had books about sadomasochism. He was clearly a sex addict. Clearly had a lot of eclectic and eccentric tastes and interests. And without context, we don't know who he's talking to. We don't know what the email he's replying to said. That's the sort of evidence that passes on Twitter. You have one email, I like the torture video. Obviously, given what Epstein is involved in, it's suggestive. And certainly one possibility is he is saying he's replying to a video of the torture, probably of someone underage and blah, blah, blah. It's a possibility, but it's inconclusive. I mean, we really don't know. It's ambiguous. It's suggestive. And the Epstein files are filled with this. There's another exchange with Ehud Barak where he says,
Israeli Prime Minister,
make sure to tell the Qataris that we're negotiating with that I'm not Mossad. And Barak says, who? That I'm not Mossad or you're not Mossad? And Epstein says, tell them I'm not Mossad. Again, that is suggestive, but it's not conclusive. It's not really evidence. It's ambiguous. Now, you can read into that what you'd like to see. You could read into all of this what you'd like to see. But it doesn't really corroborate it.
Again, from Jeffrey Epstein to Jess Staley, against all odds, we have been granted a meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Not Israeli Prime Minister.
Anything. And if you're trying to make the case about Epstein, you're going to be found wanting. And this is sort of my problem with the Epstein literature. The more that you look into these more exaggerated claims, the more you realize there isn't a ton of evidence for it. You can watch a Daryl Cooper interview with Tucker. You can read the Whitney Webb book. You can read through the DOJ memo, the charging document in 2006. You could read through the DOJ memo from this document dump last week. There's just not a lot of there. There's not really a smoking gun. If what you're looking for is the blueprint for, Evil Island, where the politicians are doing demonic rituals and sacrifices and pedophilia for, the cabal of Satanists and whatever, it's not in there. You're not going to find it. And this is why people are taking, they're really scouring the emails for anything that looks shady, taking things that are pretty vague and ambiguous. They're embellishing these things. They're reading into it what they'd like to see, but which really isn't actually there. And then they're passing it off as established fact, and then using that then to form a theory. So they'll take the email that says torture video, and they're saying, well, clearly he was talking about a video of torturing a child and probably dismembering them. Like, that's not in there, but they have taken something that they found. It says torture. Okay, so we scoured the evidence, cherry-picked what we like. Then we read into it the worst possible interpretation. Then we're extrapolating out that he is dismembering and torturing people for the devil, and then passing that off as though it's a fact and building this theory that he was this really like a boogeyman-like figure. And that, I think, is problematic. I think you're going to find that that is actually not convincing. Here is what you can say about the Epstein files based on what we have seen. And I said this on Friday, and I said this on Twitter. What we can conclude from the Epstein files is that the Epstein files are incomplete. Yes. Obviously, they are redacted. True. We don't have all the names. True. We don't have all the information, and half of them weren't even released. We can also conclude something was going on there. Obviously, something was going on that island. What? Epstein was involved in some capacity. He was not just a tax genius. He was something more. So the only sensible thing to say about the files is that the FBI must reopen the investigation. The DOJ must reopen the investigation. Because, and here's the thing, the American public deserves transparency. It's our right to see the files. This concerns our elites. This concerns our government. This concerns powerful people. It is the right of the American public to see this stuff. With that being said, you're only really supposed to believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. We don't really know what's going on here. So much of it is incomplete, inconclusive, ambiguous. These are 20-year-old files.
I don't know. I mean, does he need a bloody fingerprint? Does he need fingerprints on a gun? Does he need, you know, some girl's panties with blood? I don't understand. Is that not enough? Saying that he's going to meet with Netanyahu, Ehud Barak visiting 30 times, Robert Maxwell showing up passed away after demanding that he should get $400 million from Assad. Robert Maxwell's connection to Ghislaine that's literally Ghislaine Maxwell's father. How would he even know all this information?
And we're only seeing something that we're being shown. And we really have no power to follow up. We don't have subpoena power like Congress does. We can't call a subcommittee, you and I. We don't have the power to go to a judge and get a warrant. We can't compel anybody to have an interview. We can't charge people. That's the FBI's job. That's the DOJ's job. And so for me, what is very clear is what must happen next. Okay, so there's no smoking gun here. And as I said on Friday, the files ask more questions than they answer. They create more questions than they actually answer. We don't really have any clearer picture of what's happening than we did 2 weeks ago. What we do have, though, are leads. We have names. We have some idea of what's going on. Now it's the DOJ's job to actually follow the lead. There should now be a mandate for the DOJ and for the FBI to actually investigate the people that are named and some of the claims that are made inside the files, whether that's Trump or George W. Bush or Bill Gates, Howard Lutnick. All these people need to be investigated. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the beginning, not the end. And it's the FBI's job and the DOJ's job, not our job. And it's not to say that we shouldn't investigate and ask questions. We should, but we should recognize the limits of it and not get carried away. Because here's sort of the problem. I see what is happening, which is that people have turned this Epstein thing into like, that is the skeleton key. Once we have the Epstein files, everything will be answered. Well, that clearly didn't happen. Now, if your whole theory and worldview is resting on these files that prove everything, you're going to be found wanting. You're going to actually look stupid. If 2 weeks ago you were saying, well, just wait until the Epstein files come out, then we'll know that Israel's really doing it with blackmail and they did it on the island. There's not a lot there in the files. So if you're resting your whole case on that, it's going to be weak.
I mean, why would they leave a smoking gun in there? If they're intentionally releasing it, why would they leave absolute conclusive evidence? Of course, they're going to allow for some speculation. That's why you see Piers Morgan defending, saying it was Russia now. Epstein files release, Epstein sharing an image with Tommy Robinson, who he had praised elsewhere. Yeah, Epstein was celebrating Tommy Robinson. Sends a picture to see Bannon, backbone of England. That's why the pound's so low, cheap at any price. This is Tommy Robinson now.
We have lost 6
Why else would Tommy Robinson be
million of our people?
You have
6 million.
6 million of our people. Men, women, children.
Bro, what the fuck? Jeffrey Epstein wrote, "This is the way the Jew make money and made a fortune in the past 10 years, selling short the shipping futures, let the Goyim Goyim were only born to serve us. He said in a 2010 sermon, without that, they have no place in the world, only to serve the people of Israel.
And I think actually what the file dump does is it sucks a lot of the energy out of it. People look at this and they go, yeah, there's nothing really there. And they turn and they say, well, what can we do? The files got released, now what? Here's what has to happen next. These are leads that the DOJ and the FBI needs to follow and get to the bottom of. With that being said, I want to get into some of these falsehoods and this idea of what we know about Epstein, what is in the files and what is not in the files. So as I said at the top of the show, you sort of have these two different pictures of Epstein, and they tell us different things about the world and how conspiracy theorists think about the world. As I said, there was one picture of Epstein, which to me is very grounded and very realistic. It sees him as a human being, and in the context of the wider world, it tells us a lot about how the United States works. And I told you at the top, Epstein is a Jew from a Jewish neighborhood. He got his fortune mysteriously from Jewish financiers. Why? No one knows. They just gave him hundreds of millions of dollars. Two Jewish financiers by the name of Leon Black and Les Wexner gave Epstein $500 million and a house and a jet and an island and a company. Why? They say because he had a great personality, because he was such a great guy. Now, what that looks like is that Epstein was an intelligence operative. Okay, nobody's giving anybody $500 million because they like the cut of their jib. You give somebody $500 million if you are working with Israel and that person is working with Israel and they need capital to do their job. That's what a spy looks like. That is what a mercenary looks like. That's what a fixer looks like. That's like a Better Call Saul type figure. That is an intermediary. That's a go-between. That is someone who can be whatever they need to be for their state sponsor.
What's the chat saying?
Epstein, being a Jew from a Jewish neighborhood, involved with the intelligence agencies, receiving this fortune from Jewish millionaires that are in bed with Israel, he sets up the sex trafficking ring with all these celebrities, government officials, financiers, bankers, etc.
For who? For who?
And he's getting into some weird stuff with these people. He gets charged. He gets convicted. What does this tell us about the way the world works? Well, it tells us an awful lot about organized Jewry in America, which is that Jews identify as Jewish. They have an allegiance to Israel, which sometimes goes to the level of cooperation with their government as a spy. They represent something like a fifth column. And they will do these things. Powerful Jewish billionaires work with Israel to help Israeli spies. And these Israeli spies get in all the rooms where decisions are being made. And they have leverage over the decision makers. And so that is how Jews in Israel can exert influence and control over decisions being made in America, in Europe, in the Middle East, all over the world. It tells us something about the world, that Epstein is basically a Jewish operative.
Okay.
But then you have this other story.
Wait, what?
Where people are saying that no, Epstein was not grooming 14 to 17-year-olds, underage girls, so that he could solicit blackmail material. Rather, he was actually a pedophile. And he was into actual children, prepubescent children. And why was he into something so heinous? Because he is a truly wicked person. Totally irredeemable, not accessible at all. This is just diabolical evil. And so is everybody he knew. And not only were they raping violently the youngest children, but they were doing it part of their satanic religion. And as a matter of fact, they weren't involved with Israel. They are involved in some kind of satanic cabal that runs the world and all this kind of stuff. Now, these are two different Epsteins, and these are two very different conspiracies, two different pictures of the world. One is a story about Jews in the world. This is a group of people. They're very tribal. They're human. They're human beings like you and I. And as a group, they have a certain consciousness. They're a minority. They have this chip on their shoulder. They've been threatened in the past by Hitler and by the Catholic monarchs and by other groups. And so they're very defensive. They have a siege mentality. They're also smart and crafty. They have a stick-to-itiveness, or rather a stick-togetherness. And so when they get into a society, they tend to operate like an organism. They help each other, they work together, and they have this disdain for the native population and inward loyalty. They sort of help each other rise up the ladder and then exert all this influence. That's how the world works. This is about human beings. Human beings and temptation and power and loyalty and tribalism. The other story is a story about magic and, about unseen things. And it's a story about things that are not really provable and these sort of fantastical ideas. true demons walking among us, people that we could never understand because they're so heinous for the sake of being heinous and the rest of it. Well, I want to point to some pieces of evidence for the latter that people found in the Epstein files that were totally debunked. I saw this on Twitter.
If it's a waste of time, then why talk about it?
So here's one piece of evidence to support the latter theory. People are going through the 3 million files, and somebody found what appeared to be a document that said
Is he talking about the Ball
Epstein made a bank transfer to an entity named Baal.
I don't think that's legitimate.
B-A-A-L. And there's a document in the Epstein files that says that Epstein gave $11,000 to Baal, which happens to be the name of a demon, a Middle Eastern deity named in the Old Testament, and which was worshipped by Middle Eastern pagans and these ancient religions. They said that Epstein gave money to Baal. He named an entity after Baal. Why? Because he's a devil worshiper. Why would he be transferring money to this entity? Well, he made it. He named it after a demon because he's a demon worshiper. And everything he did was in the name of the devil, in the name of Baal. Just one problem with this. Totally fake. There is a document in the files that says Baal, but that is only because it was scanned by a scanning machine. The original file, the actual physical file, said bank name. But because the ink on the original file was smudged when it was scanned and then transcribed, it perceived the N and the K as an A and an L. Now, if you actually read the entire document, it was very clear from context clues that it said bank name. It was very obvious because it said bank name : Wallachia Bank.
Oh, thanks for the 25.
But
Nico
people
Box,
didn't
appreciate
care.
it, man.
They didn't look at the context. They didn't look at the actual document.
move on from
They
this
just
in a
said
sec.
Baal. And even though that didn't even really make sense in context, they found what they were looking for, took that, read into it that it was demon worship, then they pushed that as an established fact and extrapolated out that he must be a devil worshiper. I will show it to you on the screen right now. This is from Yahoo News. We have this advertisement here we can't get rid of. I'm going to pull it up for you. Fact check. No, Baal bank account and Epstein bank transfer document to JP Morgan is a scanning error. Does a document in the Epstein files show he had a bank account named Baal, a demonic figure? No, that's not true.
Oh, did Mossad get him? Oh, they're all, the chat's, yeah, it's fucked up.
Yes. I'll zoom in.
Oh, wow. Stream frozen. It was Baal. Baal did it.
Well, it looks like we lost frames there for a second. I think we're good now, though, so just refresh. Now, in context, if you're reading this document, what does this obviously mean?
Rumble.
If you read Baal name, Wallachia Bank, what do you think this means? And then if you see below, it says routing, account number, account name, What do you think this says? Do you think this means Baal name, or do you think it makes more sense that it says bank name? If you have ever done a wire transfer, you have the name of the bank, the routing number, the account number, the name of the account. And here's all that information. Wallachia Bank. Which bank is it? Wallachia Bank. So what do you think this really says? Do you think it says Baal?
That's what I'm saying. It's like he's saying that it's getting too schizo and conspiracy. Then I think a better priority for the show would be telling the truth about what's in the files and analyzing them. He's spending a lot of energy. You know, he's spending most of the show so far has been discrediting people who are looking into it.
Name of a demon. See? He's a devil worshiper. It's all. If you said that and I retorted and said, you know, it probably says bank name, you would say I sold out. You would say that I took the $7,000. You would say I'm defending Epstein. Okay, just one problem. We have the original document.
A 245 Groiper, you said Nick's just a weirdo. Honestly, I'm off it. Your name's 245. Your name is 245 Groiper. Why does Nick defend MC so much? Because he loves Epstein. Nick is brainwashed every. Oh man. Your name is Groiper. Next to the 5. Oh, okay.
This is the original document that was scanned. Or I should say this is another similar document from the same tranche. It's the same thing. It says bank name, SEB Vilnius Banks. Swift code, bank code, account name. So again, here you have one of the documents that was scanned. It looks like a photocopy. Bank name,
Yeah, he's going to probably go on this for a while. I think the rest of the show is going to be discrediting the schizo stuff. But yeah, I disagree. I think that there's, I don't know what more conclusive evidence he needs to conclusively say that Epstein worked for Israel. I don't know what he was looking for. It looks pretty clear to me. You know, somebody who's working for Qatar or working for Russia is not meeting with Ehud Barak 30 times. Is not saying that he's meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Is not bragging about Jew night and talking about all the WASP girls he's going to bring on Yom Kippur to the island. It seems like there's only one Jewish state. Who else would he be working for? Robert Maxwell as well. Like, all this stuff is conclusive enough for me. I don't think that makes it conspiracy minded. Obviously, they're not going to leave, a bloody napkin or a literal smoking gun in there. Why would they do that? Especially if we realize that they've had these files for several years, almost a decade. They choose to release it right now with enough speculation to leave it up for interpretation. But to me, I think it's clear enough. It's definitely clear enough. Yeah, so I don't know. What do you guys think? One, did Epstein work for Israel? Did Epstein work for Israel? Did he work for, you could put 2 if he didn't. 1, he worked for Israel. 2, he didn't.
Be guided by the truth. If you posted this, you were wrong. This is not evidence.
Okay.
We cannot draw conclusions based on faulty premises, based on faulty evidence, based on things that are provably not real. Here's another one. This is Ryan Dawson.
Ugh.
So Ryan Dawson posts a picture of me wearing the Epstein quarter zip.
Ugh.
Epstein wearing the quarter zip.
And me.
And then he posts these photos. Forgive me, they're graphic.
This is AI. This is not real.
Of this little girl with Epstein.
This is just false, too. He loves to brag about how long he's been doing this. This is a photo of Epstein with Ghislaine Maxwell, and it's photoshopped to be a girl.
1.2 million views, 36,000 likes.
Yeah, great optics.
Okay, just one problem.
1 million people now think that I'm great.
Did you know that?
1 million people think I'm supporting Epstein.
This image on the bottom right is an AI
edited
image. That's a fake
it makes me look bad.
How do
yes,
we know that?
It does. Yeah, it makes me look bad. Yeah, it does. I know. Fuck it.
This one. This is the original image on the left. And again, I apologize. It's graphic. I don't want to be showing you this. This is a boy named Johnny Ghosh. He was kidnapped in the 90s. And there's a documentary about it on Netflix. It's called Finding Johnny or Where's Johnny, something like that. And it's a long story, but this little boy was kidnapped in the 80s. They were looking for him for 10 years. Somebody sent this photo to the victim's mother. Nobody knows to this day if that's the missing child or if it's somebody else. This is a 30-year-old photo. This is a different photo. This photo has existed on the internet for 10 years. It's the same photo. It's in a Netflix
Again, Chad, don't you want to see him spend some time? He's spending it all debunking the conspiracy theories. I would like to see some energy focusing on the files. This whole show so far has just been debunking people who are looking into it rather than, investigating. This has been a major release. I'm interested in what he has to say actually about the files.
That's
There's
because
nothing there.
This is the original, and you could see wooden slats here. I mean, it's identical. The way the arm is shaped. This is the original. This is edited. And this photo's been passed around for 20 years. Totally fake.
He didn't mention that the Epstein photo, that this is a fake
But no
photo.
one's going to know.
This is a fake photo.
1.2 million views, 36,000 likes. It's not cool or funny. Look at this. That's another one.
Can he mention that I didn't wear the shirt? Can he mention that?
Your third
That'd
example.
be great.
Another one. This one has 1 million views, 1.2 million views, 32,000 likes.
I just brought that up.
Just in. Epstein tied young girls aged 11 to 13 spread out on the floor, burned them with a magnifying glass. That sounds weird. Tied 11 to 13-year-olds to the grass and then used a magnifying glass to amplify the sun to burn them. This is one of the complaints, and I'll read it to you if you can't read it yourself. This is a tip to the FBI. It says, residential number called the FBI National Threat Operation to report a viral video of what appears to be Jeffrey Epstein torturing a young woman with a magnifying glass. Martin provided the following information. Martin sent a piece of a video of what appeared to be a young white female aged 11 to 13 with dark-colored hair tied down and naked. The victim is tied to the ground and spread eagle with a man who appears to be Jeff Epstein holding a magnifying glass and burning the victim.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Martin described the video as being blurry. However, the male subject appeared to be a very large man with gray hair wearing jeans, a short-sleeved black shirt, and white tennis shoes. Martin stated Facebook would not take the video down. In the frame of the video, it says Epstein. However, the video is blurry. Here's another one. An open source query of Epstein and magnifying glass video result to a tweet from December 9th, 2019 of a picture of what appears to be an adult woman naked, tied down and gagged, lying on the grass. The woman has multiple magnifying glasses on her body. The male subject in the video is wearing jeans, t-shirt, tennis shoes. You get the idea. Well, here's a proposed community note. I'll read this one to you. It says, the depicted scene is from a BDSM porno.
Right. Chad, let me know when he gets to the actual files rather than debunking schizo stuff. Because, yeah, get the point. Okay, let's get into these videos for today. Let's get into these videos from today. Monkey, I'm going to eat my food. We can go monkey later. I knew damn well, I saw that guy spam monkey in caps, and I knew before even reading the name that it was SBF. Dude, you just sit in my stream for hours and beg to see. If you want to watch Hassan Piker, go watch Hassan Piker. Like, I'm tired of, like, low-energy dork activity. Not saying that that's all you, but people come in here all the time and just beg. I saw him even post on the Daily SNEAKO account saying, I like Hassan. I'm not even going to mention what you said, but, bro, keep the small dog, like, Indian... Not the all Indians, but keep that like not in my stream. Go on, monkey. Shut up. Shut up. Can you go on? Like, my audience is growing. The streams are doing great. And then there's so many, you know, loyal love speech people too. It's funny because like the new people that are coming in, they're like, oh, I want to learn about the Epstein files. I want to see the connections. Can you, oh, this is interesting. And then the people who are posting in the community the most in Discord and TwitterCom, who have been around for years, they're like, can you go call Sarah? And the new comers in, I have a lot of new viewers. They're like, what the fuck is this kid? Like, what is your community? What is this? I wanted to learn about, you know, I wanted to hear about, this was interesting. Can you speak about this? And the most, for some reason, the core active was, what a goon, a goon. Okay. I want to see this video. The worst of the Epstein files are corrupt files. This is a breakdown of the files.
Okay. By the time this video gets out there, there's probably going to be even more, but with a brand new multi-million page Epstein data dump, I wanted to dive in and look at the most immediately damaging stuff that we have, and also talk about just how badly the government screwed up, because it is bad, like historically bad levels of incompetence. Let's start with this, because we absolutely need the context. This is Todd Blanche, former personal lawyer for Donald Trump, who is now Deputy Attorney General of the United States. On January 30th, 2026, Blanche took the stage for a massive press conference unveiling that the DOJ and the FBI would be releasing about 3.5 million pages of new Epstein files as required by congressional law. The important part is at about 4 minutes and 10 seconds in, where he discusses the redaction guidelines and bloviates at length about how strict the criteria was, how hard their staff worked on these redactions, and how nothing was being withheld on the basis of national security. If you actually listened to him and took his words at face value, which you absolutely should not do, this is the most transparent administration ever. The quality of their work is unimpeachable, and the redactions that they made were only to protect victim information, nothing else. Sadly, that is a lie. Over the course of today's video, I'll go through a series of examples in an effort to give as comprehensive a look as I can so far for this file dump. But at the end of it all, I want everyone to consider a question. Is the current governing administration in the United States telling the truth? Here we go. Item number 1, which is actually 2 documents in this case, EFTA 01660679 and EFTA 01660651. These documents show a collection of insane allegations against Donald Trump. These come from the NTOC, National Threat Operations Center at the FBI,
so
which is where they process and vet public tips. And some of them are very obviously marked as not credible. Others are flagged as no contact made after attempting to follow up with the caller. But here and there, you start finding that some...
Again, I also find it ridiculous to be like, okay, the DOJ needs to do this. There's no conclusive evidence here. They need to investigate. Like, if we're now realizing that so many politicians and people in intelligence agencies have been blackmailed, then why are we going to put full faith that they're going to be transparent about this and even release correct information? There's a valid distrust with the people, and you can't determine that everything that's going to be, if it's being released strategically now, for what reason, you can't expect them to like, okay, the FBI needs to do this and the FBI needs to release
SNEAKO
this.
Monkey is honestly destroying the integrity of your message.
We also know that
Clav was right to call it low IQ. Stop pandering to randos so they can glaze you.
I'm not pandering to randos. I'm doing what I'm interested in. I'm not going to also pander to like gooning retards who just sit all day long and don't talk to women and then just want brain rot content and like begging for liberal shit. Go watch Twitch.
Lead being sent to conduct interviews. Obviously, I can't comment on the authenticity of these allegations
Thank
overall,
you.
but there's something else I found interesting, something far more important in my mind, that speaks to the credibility of the DOJ, the Department of Justice itself, and their decision-making when it came to these redactions. Look at these 2 documents. Separate files, sure, but not always different content. Quote, complainant was spoken to and deemed not credible. Additional research showed 3 separate blank, and then it's all redacted. However, this file isn't. The rest of the sentence says, quote, incidents involving police which requested in mandatory psychiatric evaluations, end quote. That right there, although small in a vacuum, is the very first example in a massive, massive pattern. A pattern where the DOJ is redacting things that make no sense. Things that they have no legal right to withhold, and things that may in fact matter a great deal.
Sneaky spams Israel content and gets mad when we want normal content.
Yeah, well, this is obviously extremely important right now. You know, the Epstein files are just released, and then you get like the core. Yeah, we're the core community. Can we goon? It's the most important time to talk about this and use my voice. I'm literally fighting like at an 8-front battle with Matt Walsh, Piers Morgan. You got the Cobra Tates going, trying to slander me and call me an anti-Semite. Can we go do goon stuff and risk baddies?
I'm from India,
and I don't talk to girls.
There is
Can
nothing
you talk
on the
to
files
American
at all.
girls?
Classic
Shut up.
Zeo tactic.
Like, we want this.
Was fully clothed. He said, wait a second, that he was going to get on the massage table. He got undressed and put a towel around him. She didn't see anything. They always gave her the money. She paid so-and-so and so-and-so when they first walked in the door. Everybody always got paid $200. Epstein said he would like to see her again, and from what she remembers, Epstein asked her for my number, and she gave...
So, yeah, I know this file. This is the first file that he's covered on the stream, and this is the one where the girl is extremely happy with Epstein.
She had heard he liked topless massages, and of course he thought she was 18. Epstein said, yeah, that he did prefer that. She said, okay, who wouldn't? She gave Epstein a topless massage. He never turned over during the first massage. She was called the next day, took a taxi to the residence. Epstein did not call her.
Epstein getting a Kaaba Kiswa and using it as a carpet helps show that Islam is the right path, no?
I don't
and
know.
Have her friends take her. Something. Once she had met Epstein, he was a very awesome guy, and she ended up giving him her number. She'd rather go to him on her own.
Again, so the first file he reads is where this girl is saying that Epstein's an awesome guy. Instead of all... There's so many files to cover. Why is this the first one?
She's paid for out of money that she made performing the massages. She used a bunch of different taxi companies. She was living somewhere. Second massage, she went there by herself. Epstein on his stomach, towel over him. She had her top off. He asked me he asked me the whole time, are you comfortable with me doing this? And she said yes. He turned around. This was at the end of the massage. She said that their 30-minute massage, usually even shorter than that Epstein masturbated at the end of the massage. It was like 2 seconds. He didn't touch her,
Sarah,
and she
bro.
didn't touch him.
I don't care what you're saying. Do more girl content. We need Maya too, bro. Please stop ignoring your fans. We want sleep streams too.
He continued to masturbate.
Why is
He
Ben
paid
Shapiro's voice
$200. Sometimes Epstein would, and sometimes she would pay The massage ended after he ejaculated, but he did not release every time. Sometimes he just wanted his feet massage or back massage.
That's what the Netflix documentary was all
This is the second
covering.
part. I don't know if I'll read the entire thing.
That's
it's
the
kind
Palm
of long.
Beach residence.
She never used a back massager. Yeah, I had a boyfriend. He was a jealous boy. He didn't care. Bring home the bacon. I would bring girls there when she was pregnant. Through a baby shower, he got me furniture and a rattle for my son. He sent her to bring me gifts for the baby. He asked if she had a boyfriend. We talked like friends in our life stories. He probably knew my whole story. She told Epstein she wanted to be a model, and Epstein said he would help her, 16 at the time. Epstein said, I will definitely take you and bring you up to New York because he had models there.
SNEAKO play a game later.
She would always turn him down because I was 16. He asked a couple times. He said, I will bring you to New York or Brazil. We could try to fulfill your dreams. And she would always say no because I was young and I didn't want to screw up the 18 thing. After I had the baby, something changed. I was a bad girl. She totally changed. Brought girls 2 times after she had the baby. Epstein and her stopped talking. They each had their own lives. Yes, I was late on my rent. I asked him for like $300. He gave her $500. She can't remember if Epstein was in town or not, but he was not there. He went to Brazil. He had to come back with a whole bunch of bikinis. He gave her a bikini. He told her to choose one. The girl who died recommended...
Chat. Aura Regain. Giga Chad. Almost there.
Everybody loved Epstein. Every girl that I bought was fine with it. As far as I know, we all had fun there. We ate the food he gave, free bikinis, nothing about any cops.
It's all in the Netflix doc.
Hopefully Epstein doesn't find out our age. He always told them, and I told them, you don't have to do anything you're not comfortable. Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that. That was kind of weird. We were so young, and Epstein didn't know that the whole thing was shaken up. When I brought them there, I thought they were 18, 19, 20. A couple times I brought 16-year-olds. And they were scared to say they were 18. What if he finds out afterward? If he climaxed, they were shaken up. I would say it was okay, and they would say they weren't expecting that. He told Epstein they were comfortable with it. She was thinking, if anything, they were scared. Maybe they felt obligated. Usually the girls I brought one time wouldn't see them again. Approximately 30 girls taken. Never any alcohol or drugs. When she was 16, she smoked pot. Jeffrey always made me feel so comfortable. I thought I was a big girl. I was 18.
All right, Jake Shields is calling. Hold on. Hey, Jake, I'm on stream.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Good. You want to get on FaceTime real quick?
Hold on, let me call you.
This is such an L segment. Please call Sarah or Maya. Need more goon content. I'm just waiting my shit out.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
W. Jake.
Stopped. I didn't feel like it was right. She was a stay-at-home mom. She had a beautiful baby boy. Worked at LA Fitness, Romeo's Pizza.
Super chat.
She told me she wanted to stay home with my baby. She and her were friends, blah, blah, blah. I hope nothing happens to Jeffrey. He is an awesome man, and it is a shame that he has to go through this. I love him as a friend. He has done so much for me.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Goy, listen here, Goy.
What is the point
you will
of
do a
reading through all
sleep
this?
stream. Goy, more entertainment. So dance, Goy. Dance, gesture, Goy. Gesture, or I will get my demon Matt Walsh.
Than Jeffrey Epstein at all. I'm not trying to justify what he did. I'm not trying to minimize it. I'm not trying to exonerate him. My view on Jeffrey Epstein is that he is a hedonist and an evil man. And what he did was evil.
Did he work for Israel?
Let's talk about what he did.
Did he work for Israel?
He groomed teenage girls into erotic massages and in some cases sex. The ages were 14 to 17. Out of hundreds of interviews, thousands of potential victims, this is the age bracket that we get. This is what is proven. This is what is corroborated. This is still heinous. This is still an evil and a heinous crime. Why?
Free Epstein.
Well, if it isn't obvious, because 14 to 17-year-old girls are vulnerable. Especially if they come from a broken home, which almost all of them did. All had money problems, family problems. These are vulnerable young women.
And they would take advantage of that.
From poor socioeconomic...
Every pimp knows that the easiest girls to manipulate are ones without fathers or without a good upbringing, and poor girls.
So women who are immature, psychologically vulnerable...
If you really think about
already
it,
in a
we're two
vulnerable
sides for the same
position,
coin.
Are being manipulated. That's what that is. It's called grooming. And grooming is wrong for a reason. It's wrong because women have a hard time saying no. Because women are naturally afraid because they're weak.
This political slop content is
and
so
there's all
mid.
sorts of biological and social reasons. Women don't like to say no. And women are very emotional and grow attached, especially young women. And so a young woman who gets turned on to this kind of life is manipulatable. Is she freely choosing? Not completely. Because there is an asymmetry. An older person, a person of means, has an advantage over an immature younger person, a teenager, and a poor person. So Epstein is taking advantage. And that is abuse.
For who, though?
These girls are losing their innocence. They're effectively becoming prostitutes for a pimp. And you could call this the lover boy method. Epstein, of course, is being very kind and generous and giving them money. But he is taking from them, taking their innocence. It is exploitative. He is exploiting them.
For who?
For their bodies, for their sex. And this is quite literally the selling your soul.
I have proof
it's the
you've
deal with
bought
the
Action
devil.
Man is watch collab with him.
They're giving up their innocence, giving up their purity, their chastity in exchange for money. And they think that Epstein's their friend. He's not their friend. He's not a good guy. That's not a good person. That's a predator. That is somebody that is preying on vulnerable young women that don't know any better.
Oh, thanks, man.
And he knows what he's doing.
Supporters in the chat.
Cynically and hedonistically manipulating them so that he could use them for himself, for his friends. And that is heinous.
This chat, hate Jews, said SNEAKO has fucked 10 times as many 14-year-olds. What the fuck, bro? What?
He got this plea deal. That's really a political question, but they should have brought the whole weight of the law against him for victimizing hundreds and thousands of girls, effectively turning them out into prostitutes. No doubt about it, this is wrong. So I want to be very clear. My purpose here is not in any way, shape, or form to excuse it, moralize it, minimize it, justify it,
electrical business
rationalize it.
owner.
It's not the
I've learned
purpose.
so much from your content and appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, bro.
There's a lot of dudes like me that need it.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it a lot. Good luck with your electrical business. Keep at it. Keep working hard, bro. Wish all the success to you.
What was actually happening? I'm trying to paint a picture for you of what this really is, because first of all, it's the truth, and we need to know the truth of the matter if we want to gain understanding. And the facts of how this actually happens
this is
points
boring.
towards the why.
I'm so sick of this garbage content.
This is not
Do
a human
something
interest
else,
story.
Go.
At the end of the
Pull
day,
Sarah,
Epstein is not
please, for
a
the love
subject
of
of
God.
interest because he's a sex criminal. Unfortunately, in the world, there are a lot of sex criminals. Unfortunately, this happens all the time.
Bro. !
OnlyFans.
Epstein, _SNEAKO. What the? SNEAKO, low IQ African bitch.
Of it. Hollywood, they're in the same business as Jeffrey Epstein at the end of the day. Why are we interested in the story? It's not because a sex crime was committed. It's because a sex crime was committed by somebody who was probably an intelligence operative.
For who?
Now, understanding his mode, his method, the how, this is key to understanding the why. This is key to understanding what he was really doing. And so the reason that I bring all this information out, it is not to say Epstein didn't transfer money to Baal and, you know, he didn't tie up this little girl and he didn't have sex with this little girl. Therefore, he's a good guy. Therefore, leave. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to be very precise and rigorous and truthful in how we evaluate this information. We have to be investigators. We have to use a forensic method.
Okay.
And so, no, I'm sorry. AI edited images and misleading information and
then who did he work for?
Transcription errors. That cannot be permitted.
He's definitely said that
I'll
before.
go back to streaming with Sarah if you want to get views again. We need goon content.
He for sure said before that Epstein worked for Israel, no? I'm almost certain he said that. I'm almost certain that's been...
Here is that Epstein was grooming teenagers. By all accounts, it was not violent. It was not physically coercive. That was not happening. In 2006, they interviewed hundreds of witnesses, thousands of...
How many witnesses and victims killed themselves afterwards and went missing?
In Florida, in southern Florida, at his compound. There is no record of physical coercion. In other words, women weren't being beat up. They weren't being killed. They weren't... And again, I'm not saying like, hey, it's not that bad. I'm saying that was not happening. The method that Epstein chose is that through Ghislaine Maxwell and through other women, and the reason...
Daughter of Robert Maxwell, founding father of Mossad.
If an older woman, even if she's 18, or if she's Ghislaine Maxwell's age, she's a little older down the line, if a woman approaches a younger girl and solicits her for a massage. It's easier for that woman to gain a young girl's trust.
Yeah, bottom bitch.
That's why Ghislaine Maxwell was an accomplice. That's what she was doing. And as Ghislaine Maxwell recruited girls, the girls were recruiting girls. Why? Because that was the method. They were going to these down on their luck, vulnerable young women and telling them, hey, listen, we're going to go to this island. He's going to pay you $200. It's nothing weird. He's totally normal. And that's grooming. That's how that starts.
No, W.
So they get him in.
Action Man is watching you on stream right now, and he's calling you Quilly. He has more viewers than you, but his chat ain't moving.
Nobody gives a fuck.
First massage, normal. Here's your $200. We'll pay for your cab. See you later. And the girl says, wow, this guy's connected to Victoria's Secret. He gave me an expensive bikini and underwear.
Victoria's Secret, CEO Les Wexner, rich Zionist, lives in Ohio, multi-billionaire, gave money to Israel. Wait, so then who's he working for?
This is maybe the most important person I know in my life. I can go places. So she comes back again. This time he shows his penis, you know. Asks her to take her top off. She goes, oh, okay, I'm here. She feels indebted, pressured. You know, this is the method. And then you have these girls that are hanging in and around the complex. And they go on the private jet. How's about we go on the island and come to New York and come to the Florida, whatever. And Epstein's girlfriends are part of the harem. And then they're being shared. They're being trafficked, prostituted out for the other men. This seems to be the means. This is the method. Now, is he dismembering them and gutting them and eating the fecal matter out of their intestines for the devil? I don't think so, no. By all accounts, I don't think that's what's happening.
Well, Marina Abramovich's, there's definitely spirit cooking going on. That's been proven and shown in our face. John Podesta has artwork of that everywhere. It definitely does happen. And so many of these people have direct ties to Epstein.
The fecal matter in her intestines. And they did that in a satanic ritual. Is that what's going on here? I don't see any evidence for that. Because of this faulty bank statement, because of these fake pictures, because of the FBI reports,
Jeffrey Epstein said himself that he is with the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds are pictured next to Marina Abramovich.
Get this lying demon off your stream. Watch clips of Putin instead.
No.
Love speech is done with Nick.
No.
There's more intelligent information than this liar.
Bro, he was pictured. In the files, Epstein himself said that he is with the Rothschilds. Then he goes on the podcast and then explains the financial system in detail. The whole interview with Steve Bannon, he's talking about...
Yo, SNEAKO, much love. I'm not shot up fully on everything. Just watch your Goy video.
Like
what can us Goy do to revolt? What can the masses do?
It's distasteful. It's unethical. It's heinous. You know, the means by which he's doing this is obviously wrong. But clearly that's his thing. And he wants young girls there. And he wants young girls there because then that's what makes, don't shoot the messenger here, but that's what makes a party. You know, when you go to a club, you get in for free if you have some hot young girls there. Obviously, you know, that's on the younger side. That's on the very younger side. It gets creepy at that point. But Epstein wants the mansion, wants the island to be filled with young girls because he's throwing these parties. And so when you see the emails that he's sending to these people, it's, hey, we have girls. Nobody over the age of 25, he says in one of the emails.
Why are you acting like Nick is keeping the fact that Epstein worked for Israel? Everyone in his chat and this one knows that. We need a sleep stream.
I don't think he said that. He said that there's no evidence of that in the files.
We got hoes. We got bitches. That's the email. Hey, Howard Lutnick. Hey, Elon. Hey, so-and-so. Hey, come to the party. We got girls. Nobody over the age of 25. You can get laid here. We're on a tropical island. You can come and get laid. That's clearly the message. Now, if we understand what Epstein is, then we understand why he was doing this. Why was he trafficking the young girls? Because that is his in to these powerful networks. That's his in.
Okay.
If it was just a matter of taste, if this was just a personal predilection that he was ashamed of or that he was hiding because it was illicit, maybe he would have kept it to himself. But clearly there was a purpose behind this. Why did Les Wexner set him up with Victoria's Secret? Because that is how Epstein accessed these models. And these things always go hand in hand.
Bro,
who controls prostitution? Organized crime. Organized crime controls prostitution. And if
here's Les Wexner's connection to Israel primarily involves his philanthropic efforts through the Wexner Foundation, which he founded to develop Jewish and Israeli leadership. This was the financier behind Epstein. He had a foundation to develop Jewish and Israeli leadership. What else do we need, bro? He's saying he knows, buddy. He's not. He said it's inconclusive.
Really what Epstein is. That is our understanding of Epstein, is that the island, these various compounds that he had.
Am I making a mistake?
These are effectively mob-run brothels. These are intelligence-run brothels.
For who? Chat, see what I'm saying?
Victoria's Secret, that's your carrot. We want to get these young girls. How do we get them to do the massages? How do we get them? Well, we offer them this glamorous life. I can introduce you. I can make you a model. You're a beautiful girl who's broke. I can make you a model. And then you understand this is really just like Harvey Weinstein. And don't get me wrong, it's not to victim blame, but the girls, on some level,
who do Harvey Weinstein have
again, they're being taken advantage of. They're making a choice. They are going to this place, taking the money, doing something they know is wrong. It is all very glamorous in the moment. And, you know, that was Harvey Weinstein too. I'll make you a movie star.
Horse, bro, they're like 14, bro. They're like 14 years old, man.
You have to massage this guy. You have to massage that guy. And the girls, again, they're being preyed upon. I do believe they are victims. But there's also an element of choice in there, too. They're coming back.
Bro, is that Ta?
Yeah, let me
look at Ta in Nick's chat. SNEAKO and Bambi, brother, I changed the nickname. Dude, Ta, fuck off. Holy fuck.
Naive. This is human affairs.
Oh my God.
This is what happens in the course of society. Now, this is a reasonable picture of what Epstein is. That is what Epstein is. Let's also talk about what is in the emails aside from this information. What is not in the files? You don't see a smoking gun. What is not in the files? The ball thing, some of these edited photographs, misleading stuff. You know what is in the files? Repeatedly and overtly and constantly? Epstein is always talking about Jews and Goyim. It comes up over and over again.
The way to fight is to find God.
Goyim are ridiculous.
Be vigilant, live purely,
is it gonna be all
avoid being
Jews
made
at the
weak
party?
and controlled. To be strong with God. They want us to reject God.
True.
Jews are smart. They move money.
Your name is
Goyim
wrong,
toil with their hands. Goyim are made to serve. This is what is in the files. You know what is not in the files? There's not a lot of talk of the occult.
There is one goat
There's not
left.
a lot of
SNEAKO.
rituals.
Long
not
live
even
love
really,
speech.
strictly speaking, pedophilia. That's not really in the files. You know, all this, a lot of the stuff that is being pushed around is fake. I mean, it's literally just fabricated. And it's being exaggerated and embellished. You know what is in the files? That Epstein was a Jew. And he self-identified as a Jew. And he wasn't religious.
Secular
he didn't keep
Jew.
kosher.
Like most New York Jews.
He was a complete degenerate hedonist. We don't even know that he was super pro-Israel. At least he didn't talk about it a ton.
Come on, bro.
What we do know about the files is that he was extremely powerful. Extremely connected. He knew business leaders. He knew government officials in Israel, in the UK, in the United States. He knew people at JP Morgan. He knew people at Yale. He knew people in the cybersecurity industry. He knew people everywhere. He knew Reid Hoffman, Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen.
All Zionists.
He knew all these guys. And he was a powerful Jew. He was a Jewish patriot. He had these attitudes about being Jewish. The Jews are better. The Jews work smarter. The Jews are smarter. The Jews get together and they want to be in the club. And the Goyim are stupid and Goyim are taken advantage of. And we don't really like the Goyim, and the Goyim are different than us, and Goyim are subhuman.
Okay.
Now again, this paints a very, what do we have? Let's work with what we have. This paints a picture. Epstein, knowing what we know about him, well, let's just tell the story from the beginning. Epstein is somebody who was given $500 million by the Jewish financiers Leon Black at Apollo and Les Wexner at Victoria's Secret. These are both Jewish patriots for Israel. Leon Black and Les Wexner, they were responsible for most of Epstein's fortune. Those two alone accounted for more than $500 million of his net worth. They just gave him that money. They gave him a house. They gave him a jet. They gave him the island. They gave him his fortune.
Yeah.
They say that Epstein was just a tax genius. They just say that they liked his personality. That's obviously a cover story. There's a lot of people that are good at taxes. They're not worth $1 billion. You don't give them a house and a plane and an island.
I'm waiting for him to say it. It's just like I'm getting edged right now.
It's funny, guys. You don't give them $1 billion. So what is going on there? Well, it's quite obvious. Les Wexner and Leon Black have an inroad with Israel.
Okay.
They are probably Zionim.
Okay.
They are Jewish covert spies working under the IDF.
Okay.
Now, they may not be IDF agents,
All
or
right.
rather Mossad agents or Shin Bet agents.
Okay.
But they are accomplices to Israeli intelligence.
All right.
Israeli intelligence has their number and can call upon them to do things. They're working hand in glove with the Israeli state. They have a relationship with the Israeli state. And so occasionally the Israeli intelligence service needs to promote somebody inside the United States.
Yeah.
Needs to get somebody in a particular room, in between, in the middle. How do they do that? Well, that guy needs to be Bruce Wayne. He needs to be a billionaire playboy philanthropist. So how do they do that?
All right. He's
Well,
getting
they
there.
call up Les Wexner and Leon Black, the two pro-Israel Jews from the mega group.
Please get this liar to shut
And they
up.
say, hey, give
He's
this guy
obviously being
$500
paid
million.
to cover
The
up like
money's
tape.
all fungible.
SNEAKO
It's
could
really
level up
is your
when he
stuff, but
realizes
he's
the
gonna hold
massive
on to
fraud
it.
Nick is.
You're wrong.
That's clearly what's going on. So Les Wexner owns Victoria's Secret. And this is where beautiful girls are looking for a career.
Okay.
If you're a drop-dead gorgeous girl, you want to be a model. Okay, what is the preeminent modeling career? Victoria's Secret is a great place to start. So this is where they start getting the girl. Again, it's all part of this machine. Epstein grooms the young girls, promising them this life of fame and fortune. They willingly go along. Now, they're being groomed and they're being manipulated, but they're going along with it. They're not being murdered and beaten up and so on. They're being bribed. And 14 to 17-year-old girls who want to make a career, want to make a name, are going in. Epstein's indulging himself, and he's sharing in the harem with the powerful people.
Okay.
And this is how he either endears himself to powerful people, come to my island, we're having a crazy party with girls, or potentially how he blackmails them. Hey, Bill Gates, it'd be a shame if people found out you cheated on your wife. This is how they operate. Now, as we've said, Epstein is, I don't believe it's convincing that he's some occultist, devil worshiper, who's gutting people and just is like a real sicko for the sake of being evil.
Fair.
He seems like somebody who is a Jewish patriot. And what does it tell us about our society? That somebody like this is able to rise through the ranks. This is how they talk when they get together.
Goyim.
When J.P. Morgan and Andreessen Horowitz and the Israeli government and Goldman Sachs, when all these different groups get together and they talk over email, they joke and they kid and they are vulgar like the rest of us, but this is how they talk, like they're all in a big club.
What's the club?
Are there going to be any stupid goyim at the party? Oh, yeah, goyim in abundance, but it's okay. They're not dumb ones. I hope it's all Jews at the party. Jews are smarter than everybody. That's what this is, and that's what it tells us about our society. This tells us something about the structure of our society, that these are the types of people that are actually the power brokers. They broker
We know he is your friend, but eventually defending him will be like defending Israel.
And they do it by getting into the social circle of this upper stratum. They infiltrate the social circle of that highest percentile, and they go to the parties. And for example, Nelson Rockefeller helps Epstein get into the Trilateral Commission and Bilderberg and all these different supranational groups. And this is where he goes and hobnobs, rubs shoulders Gets numbers, shake hands. Hey, I'm Epstein. I'm a tax genius. Come to my island. Hey, I'm Epstein. I'm a Swiss bank account, offshore bank account expert. Come to my complex. And he's put in these rooms by his fellow Jews. He's not a tax genius. He's not actually a genius at anything. In his interview with Steve Bannon, he said Aristotle never wrote any books. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. People say the reason Jews are successful is because of their IQ. This guy was a fraud. So how did he make $500 million if he's a fraud? Because he was given a boost by his fellow Jew. They probably got a lift from their fellow Jews. And they all got that sponsorship once upon a time from Israel, from European Jewry, from the Rothschilds, from the Jewish elite in America. This is the game that is being played.
Okay, he's saying without saying it.
And so Nelson Rock.
This is a good show because he's just like, he knows what everybody wants him to say, and he's just stringing it along. It's like doing a magic trick with the big reveal at the end.
Les Wexner, Leon Black.
He didn't say it yet, Chet.
Ehud Barak, all these people give him his fortune, his crib, his models.
He's getting there. He's getting there.
Bring him to the rooms. Bring him to the parties.
Okay.
And they are creating the security vulnerability. It's sort of like a back end. They opened up a back end into America's elite so that Israel could get in. And his name is Jeffrey Epstein. And that's what this is.
All right, okay. He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing, bro.
Cover just like tape.
Okay, look at you.
So
this is like, bro, these like mad third world. He said it. Finally. Goddamn. It was, dude, he likes being the edgy guy. He enjoys it. It's fun. Fun to be the villain. Get everybody mad. Drop an Epstein thing that pisses people off. It's fun, bro. He's been the most canceled guy for a long time. And it's a fun situation to be in. To be able to emotionally control people with your beliefs. Not a lot of people have that. But there you go. Finally. Holy shit.
And I believe that every effort to embellish this story, and people are focusing on, there's emails about time travel. They're calling him a lizard. There's a story about him eating feces out of a girl's intestines. The more that people fixate on that, the more they get away from the real story. Yeah. And the real story is about how all of this works. This is how our society works. And that's when you realize you cannot have Jewish people at the highest level. Because if you do, they will get Epsteins in the club.
Yeah.
A Larry Ellison, a Les Wexner, a Miriam Adelson, a Sheldon Adelson, a Larry Fink. These people will get the Epstein in the club. They will get their guy in the club. They are a fifth column. They will do it for Israel. They will do it for their fellow Jew.
Okay, finally. Fucking hell. He had me, bro. He had me in the first half, Angola. He had me in the first. He knew what he was doing. Yo, he definitely prepared that beforehand, knowing that he was getting all this heat for dropping the merch. And so he just knew that, what do you say? As soon as they like you, make a man like you. Yeah, he's having fun with it. He's having fun with it. That was good, though. That was good. That felt like a magic show. That felt like a little magic show. Angola. Wow, this is... Really, dude? Someone botted my stream. I really hope whoever botted my stream doesn't get me in trouble. Everyone's pissed off. Okay. I don't need to text them. It's fine. Cloud fight. All right. Everybody's doing their thing. Shout out to Nick Fuentes. Good show. A good, big show. Lots to get into. Lots to talk about. It's just a shirt. All the goyim, they're all mad. They're making jokes about Hitler and how he has aura. Oh, God forbid I wear a quarter zip. You can get it now. They're selling out. Apologize to who? It's 80% cotton.